Boom. There we go. How is it going, YouTube? Thank you guys for being here. If you, of course, haven't been here before on our Thursday night lives, essentially how this works is you come in here and ask me basically anything about pharmacology, training, nutrition, exercise sciences, and I try to extrapolate as much as I can and not embellish the truth, so that you could hopefully get a little bit more detailed orientation within your current paradigm of whatever you're doing. Also, oftentimes what this ends up turning into is just a lot of tomfoolery because y'all are crazy and you just say some wild stuff. Regardless, though, I'm here for it. So if you have questions, if you have thoughts, concerns, whatever they might it be, you're more than welcome to ask. Adam is out today, unfortunately. He was supposed to be here, but I'll show you. Don't tell him I showed you guys because he did what we all hope to do one day. I hope you can see this. A beautiful hair transplant. He went to South Africa and got his hair transplant. Now, if you don't know, Adam is from South Africa. He sounds Australian, but he's South African. So, yeah, our homie's, basically not bald anymore to some capacity. Well, he was never bald, but he's less bald now. Yeah, and scientific snitches here too. How wonderful! And I successfully sells after work 10 hours of work. Yeah, something like that. She sent me pictures of rabbit cells, and I thought that was quite interesting with no context. She's like, "I'm so happy," and I was like, "What is this?" Samantha, how are you? What's going on? What's on the agenda, dude? We're just talking. Questions are great. I got good hair genes. We are all jealous of you. I think many of us typically don't. Isolated cells. What's up, Ryan? Ryan, are you Barber? It's probably just your last name. I'm not trying to be a douchebag. Yeah, you guys, if you have questions, please shoot me and ask, and I'm more than happy to help out. Did you watch the Penguin show? I haven't, man. I really want to. I've heard so many good things about it. And I don't know if everyone says this, but legitimately, I just don't have time. Like, it's just way too hard to stop for over an hour and just watch something. I would love to, but I get so conflicted and I feel bad because I know I could be doing other things at the time. It's probably an actual psychological problem that I need to get checked out on, but I literally just want to work more than I want to watch a series, because a series is a big time commitment. It's a me problem. It's not a you problem, but I've heard it's very good. What I tend to do is, because I like the Cliff Notes version of just about anything, is I'll watch reviews on it, and then I'll just take that for having me watched it. Sort of. It's a great life I live, to be honest. Shout out to Samantha. She's the best real estate agent in the entire world and works great property deals. If you're interested in moving, hit her up, blast her DMs, look her up on Instagram. She's there. Do you watch Dan the Bodybuilder from Thailand's podcast? Kind of interesting. I made a whole video on him, dude. A 35-minute video about Dan the Bodybuilder in Thailand. Yeah, I watched past tense. He's a lunatic. Doesn't know what he's talking about. There's some things that he has to say that are good, but oftentimes he's just regurgitated those things from other people who have said them before him. He's not really novel. He hasn't gained any new insight. He hasn't brought anything new to the table. He just sort of recapitulates the things that everyone has already been saying in the industry for years now, and then sells it to you in a book, which is great. I love to see that kind of grift in any kind of influencer, so that's awesome. Not really a big fan of the guy. How about Wes Watson, a big boy, and Cali Muscle joining forces to dominate each other? I mean, the fitness. Yeah, it's a crazy situation, man. I saw that. I couldn't believe. Look, if we had to pick those three characters, they're almost cartoon characters at this point. I think that those characters would be the most fitted together in terms of what they can actually accomplish. I wouldn't imagine that to go on any other way, to be honest. It just makes complete sense to me. What's up, James Foster? Thanks for being here, Felipe. Yeah, I watched your video. Yeah, so I've actually gone through and I extensively watched his podcast when I was young and getting started, even before I was on gear. So when it first had started, that was the genesis of everything I knew started from his podcast. But that led me to Steve, and then eventually listening to Steve compared to most other people, to eventually moving to Thailand, right? So yeah. And yes, Kurt, they are tattooed. I like that for coaching. I don't watch anything while I'm working with clients or on the company lab. Oh yeah, see, that would be a dream to me. When I'm like scripting for YouTube and stuff or editing, which is actually kind of ridiculous, like task switching and being divergent like that. But I listen to things while I'm editing or script writing, and it's like my favorite thing to do. Honestly, I sleep and listen to things a lot too, like YouTube videos that I wanted to catch up on. I'll sleep and watch them. Yeah, I don't agree with what he promotes. Starting his first cycle at 500 milligrams a test. Yeah, I think that's just a bad idea for anybody. 500 mgs a test is just going to do so much harm compared to good. If you'd never have taken anything before, you'd be much better off just literally starting from the basics and approaching things at a much lower dose. Just waiting for. Yeah, you're doing the shit that none of us even like comprehend. I hope you know. I'm just out here in the trenches, and we're all out here on the sidelines. Felipe, could you talk about how methylene blue can help with thyroid? Do you think it can also help with fat burning? Well, geez, this is okay. So like, you have to differentiate the data sets that you're pulling from. Oftentimes what you're pulling from when you're talking about the thyroid is in mechanistic studies, in a sense that it's not necessarily human applied. I've never seen anything happen to thyroid levels via the administration of methylene blue. And trust me, it's in a lot of my clients' programs. Thanks, Figure of Steve and Modern Aminos for giving it to just virtually about anybody. But with fat burning, because it does perform some degree of mitochondrial biogenesis, just by nature of that, it's going to increase fat burning. So yes, but I wouldn't say it would help thyroid. That's also such a global statement, like help thyroid. What does that mean to say? Like methylene, yeah, scientific stitch says it's not very well studied unless it's for that blood disorder. Yeah, the one specific blood disorder that was supposed to be studied for, and then everyone else just like ran with it. I don't think like, what does help with thyroid? There's so many different. Does it lower reverse T3? Does it reduce thyroid binding globulins? Does it, like, I don't know, right? This is like look, a lot of the people in this industry like to talk about things that they don't understand, or that they think they understand, and then talk about it as if they're an authority. And I'm not the authority. I'll tell you straight up. I will tell you that I have never seen anything happen regarding methylene blue and thyroid in any capacity. Reverse thyroid, thyroxine, T4, nothing, right? So I don't know. That's about that, right? I've never seen data to support it. And if someone said it, I'd like to see where they got that idea from. Because honestly, I've never seen anything in that nature of human studies. Hello, 60 years old. Got test levels checked. 40 doc. Okay. Put me on testosterone cypionate. No, he didn't. Look, brother, there is no doctor in this goddamn world who's going to put you on 400 mgs a test, 200 mgs of Primo, or Deca. That's ridiculous. You are going to a TRT clinic who's an underground lab of steroids. That is ridiculous. First cycle 50 goes through, it makes sense, yeah. What was your MOS? 19 Delta Cavalry Scout. Forward reconnaissance, buddy. Oh shit. What's up, homie? Yeah, that can be a little bit of a mix-up, to be honest. League is dope, though. I was really into that, like really into that while I was actually in the military. Funny enough, that was like my jam. I loved that stuff. Minimum 2 grams per cycle. Yes, please don't do that. Unless, I don't know, unless you have some crazy ideas of something. Is Darling purple superior to methylene? No. I heard carbs are good for thyroid. Well, having a decent serum insulin level is good for thyroid. Having, super chronically low insulin levels can be problematic. Also with sex hormone binding globulin, for instance. So like, it's not that they're, I don't want to be rude, and I'm trying not to be rude. I swear to God. I'm just saying, like, you can't say this is that and that is this, right? It's oftentimes things are on a much more conditional scale where something has to happen for another thing to happen, and it's not good or bad. It's just what is biology. Good for thyroid. What does that mean, right? because thyroid isn't just a thing. Like thyroid gland, are we talking about the multiple different thyroid hormones, thyroid binding globulins, thyroid antibodies? Like, what are we talking about? Thyroid receptors? Like, there needs to be some specificity here. In general, fasting insulin being at a moderate level, like a healthy range, does support thyroid function globally, if you want to say that. We have a local guy I see at the store who has methylene, who has been blue for interesting. It could be. I mean, my mouth historically on my Instagram stories is always blue because I take it in the morning. Yeah, that's exactly like. And then what receptor sites are we talking about? Like, what? It's such a interesting thing to say, like, good for thyroid. Like, what does that mean? I did a whole video recently today, actually, where I talked about like gut protocols and how people are just so estranged with these gut protocols about like how they can fix SIBO. And everyone has SIBO. If you're bloated, you have SIBO. If you have indigestion, you have SIBO. If you have any sort of fullness feeling, you have SIBO. And it's just crazy. Everybody has SIBO. Everybody has bacterial overgrowth. And I go through like the protocols and just talk about like how convoluted it is for people to be saying these things, because really, really clearly, we have so little understood about the gut microbiota and what is the appropriate balance of gut microbiota. There's, first of all, multi-trillions of bacteria in our gut. And then from those, we have two different people in which they're not going to have the same microbes, right? So like every person is going to have a different array of different microbiota that was specific to their environment and come up as a human being. And so it's like these protocols just involve like, take this X probiotic because it's the best, or take this X, Y, and Z thing because it's the best. And it's like, how do you define it as the best? Why is it the best? What is it actually doing for the person? Is it working regionally, like in the small intestine or the large intestine or the mouth or the esophagus? Like, what bacteria is it affecting? And it's just kind of, yeah. Anyways, I feel like a lot of people want to try to, Yep, that's exactly what it is. They want to try drugs and use random compounds just to justify the reason that they're not making progress in the way that they'd like to. Well, I don't believe that, man. That's scary. You should find a new doctor if that is the case. If you actually put you on that dose of testosterone, that is detrimental. Hey Colton, just want to thank you for becoming my new favorite fitness channel. Your level-headed and calm demeanor is a breath of fresh air, especially in the fitness. Yeah, dude, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. That means a lot. I try my best. I do try my best. Sometimes it's kind of crazy. Y'all have read the comments and shit. It gets wild. Sometimes people get real mad about the craziest things. Like I just say something on a whimsical, like, I don't even know, something stupid, maybe not even like funny, or I don't know. People get really mad. They take that as the whole subject of the video. The post I saw last morning. All right, let me check it out. I'll check it out, man. As long as you, let me see. Oh boy. All right, let's share this and see what's going on. This already looks sus. Life Blood Co. from Canada. Okay. Nedevikov et al. In 1995 found in two separate experiments that methylene blue inhibited the loss of thyroxine, thyroid hormone T4, and decreased the thyroid stimulating hormone from the pituitary of rats. Okay, big first problem. Stressed by exogenous okay, also big problem. So there's now two cofactors here that are leading to the situation happening. How does he know it's the methylene blue that's actually doing this individually? I don't know. It's also in rats, and it was a study done in 1995, which is quite dated. Even though dated studies aren't the worst thing in the world, they're still valid. A bit sketchy. But I'd also add that is inhibiting the loss of T4 a bad thing, and is always reducing TSH a bad, or is suppressing TSH a good thing? Because what if you need TSH? What if you have limited thyroid or thyrox T4? What if you're not producing enough T3 from the T4? Like, these are all questions that I would be asking. They also found that they could administer thyroid blocking pollutant carbimazole, which would drastically raise TSH and lower T4, and then use methylene blue to inhibit the thyroid damaging effect. That is such a broad statement. What is the thyroid damaging effect? And they say thyroid blocking pollutant. What does Hello. Oh, there we go. That was awkward. I love that. Wow, I was just talking for so long. Hey, at least you can hear me now. Thank you guys. I appreciate you for being honest. Thank you, 17 beta hydroxy. That's awesome of you. I appreciate that. Unfortunately, it didn't work. But we're on now. Now I'm going to be super sketchy about all this. I'll make sure I keep track of it. That's my bad. Okay. I appreciate you guys. Sweet. Echo sound of silence. All right. I'll get back to what I was talking about. Holy shit, guys. I just talked for like probably 15 minutes about random stuff. Okay. So the Michael Horn thing, I think it's infant blood, basically. That's my hypothesis. But in reality, you got to give the guy some credit because he looks outstanding. He looks crazy. You guys realize how old he is, right? Like, he's old as dirt. He's like almost 60. He looks younger than most people who are 40 or 30. If I looked like him when I was that age, that would be fucking sick. Maybe it's the duck eggs. I don't know, man. But I got to give him kudos for what he's got. There's no doubt he's not natural. Like, very clearly he's not natural. But the physique plus the actual aesthetic is crazy at his age. Like, crazy at his age. So this one is I basically said, yeah, you should feel a little slight something. It's not significant though. If you weren't paying attention, you wouldn't notice it. It's almost like a modafinil, but it's not racy. So you don't feel like that raciness or elevation in heart rate. Well, it does elevate heart rate and increase blood pressure due to some vasoconstriction, but it's not like caffeine in the sense where you get like really racy and jittery. It's really subtle. And I think what happens is you have this like more of a in-depth focus, and you can task focus and then not task switch as much, which is super, super awesome when you're trying to work through like really long and complex things that are basically a single task. So if you ask me, I think you can feel it. Kind of, sort of. Now I just got to check my audio like every 3 seconds. And then I said, yeah, I think blending Mike Benser's and Jordan's training is probably the best because you're getting a little bit of both worlds. You guys are crazy. This is ridiculous. Oh my god. Yeah, that's my bad, bro. We should have definitely. If you could get subtitles on lives, that'd be so cool. You just need to chill. Oh my god. Can we gain muscle without gaining strength? Probably not. I mean, I'm sure you can gain cross-sectional area through, inflation of a muscle just via the training itself, but actual lean contractile tissue, maybe probably not, just because by definition the contractile tissue should be contributing to the amount of mechanical force you can produce. I would say that it's like marginal shifts in strength or muscle size, probably not, but notable shifts, yeah. You guys need to chill. Thanks for trying, guys. I you know what's funny is I'm on my my Mac, and I was getting the iMessage notifications in my corner from all you guys. I'm just like, I'm not gonna fucking respond to these guys. I'm focusing on this question right now. That's crazy. Oh my god. Yeah, I think okay, so look, I think Menser is a fucking psychopath. Basically, the way I look at it is you can take two people, or you can take a person, and that person can have a lot of good things to say, but he could also I use the example of someone like Conor Murphy, but I'll use a different example. Andrew Tate, right? So he often says something, he'll start with something that's very good and believable, like all men should make more money. Good, I agree with that. I think more men should try to make more money. That's a good concept, no joke. The bad part about that is he says, well, all men should own Lamborghinis, have a Bugatti, have a mansion in Romania with multiple women, and make billions of dollars. Well, that's a little bit of an extension of what the whole concept was about, right? So, like, yeah, I agree with him in one part of the space, but I completely disagree with him in another part. The same is true about Menser's training. Like, I agree with Menser's philosophies in the sense that you have to train hard, you have to like go into the gym wanting to die, like train yourself to death, but you just shouldn't like get so radical with it. I think the perfect way I would put it is Mike Menser plus Jordan Peterson plus a little bit of RP is probably where the perfect training split is aligned with for most people. Oh my god, there's so many messages trolling me. You guys are so crazy. This is an ASMR stream if you didn't. Oh my god, y'all are crazy. Oh my god, thank you 17 beta. That's so sick of you though. I seriously appreciate it. This is actually a lot. This was worse than 9/11. Chill. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. All right. Fail stream. Whoops. Yeah, I try my best, man. I try the best. Whew. Okay, I'm getting back down here now. Getting back down here. Yeah. Duck eggs and orange juice. He loves the superhuman though. Yeah, that's the truth, bro. Like, it's he's got genetics. He's gifted, but doesn't make him not a liar. You know, he's definitely a liar. But seriously, he's fucking. If I looked like that, I'd be crazy. It's RuneScape music. You got to get on that OG. Adam, question: any knowledge on pentasan polysulfate? I heard about it for tendon growth and then Leopast. Haven't heard anyone who ran it. Yeah, I'll be quite frank with that. I don't know anything on that one specifically. Pento. Let me just quick, in case it's called something else, let me just quick look it up, because oftentimes these things have multiple compound names. And I don't know which one it is. Oh, yeah. So yeah, it's used for I remember him talking about this. Yeah, so the problem is that it can cause a massive amount of issues. The reason people don't use it is because it can cause like massive amounts of health issues. You're looking at increasing in blood pressure, increasing heart rate, increasing hair loss, increasing inflammatory response, causing digestive issues like stomach ulcers and blood in your stool, and like it's not good. For something as simple as tendon growth, which isn't, you're not going to grow tendons, like that's just, it's not going to happen like that. No, like just use growth hormone, GHK copper, BPC 157 or TB 500. Like these are things that are pretty established and work well in humans. We have data. So yeah. No, well, I did when I was 19 years old. I'd just gotten out of basic training for the military, like 6 months prior to that, and that was like the one time I did, and it's terrible. It didn't go well. I thought I was the shit because I just got off like the back of boot camp and like shooting all these guns and doing all this high speed stuff, and it was like not the stuff. Not the stuff. I was not cool. I don't think the powder on his powdered donuts helped my thinking process. Yeah. No, the meth did not do what he needed it to do. As a gigging thrash metal drummer, should I load up on carbs pre-show to not get... Yeah, it's actually a good question. Get mid-show fatigue? We talking about an hour set. Yeah, that's hectish. I would actually say yes, but you would be... So, like, when you add things to food, it changes the glycemic index of said carbohydrates or food. So let's say if I had rice and I just ate it in isolation, that would raise, like, that would be a very high on the glycemic index. My fasting insulin would spike quite sharply, and then fasting blood glucose, or blood glucose, would be generally much higher. If I ate protein prior to the carbohydrates, let's say I had chicken, a lean protein, and then I had the carbohydrates, the glycemic index would actually be modified, so it'd be lower, and therefore less of a fasting insulin, or less of a spike in insulin, serum insulin levels, and less blood glucose floating around, which those are the things, especially the huge volatile changes within insulin, can be the thing that makes you crash. So what you'd be best served doing is having a higher fat meal, something like a steak and eggs with some rice, because that's going to kind of cliff off that index, and then make sure that the fasting, I keep saying fasting, the serum insulin is not going to spike as high. And so you have a sustained absorption of those carbohydrates, and then it will slow down digestion too. Yeah, just for the flow, take Anavar for the dental kick. Yeah, dude, blow those things up. Anadrol's even better. What's your room ski? Dude, I don't play it anymore, I'll be honest. It was Bobman2020, so that was my RuneScape username. Fucking maxed that shit out, dude. 99 on almost everything, especially fucking fire burning. He definitely lies. His striated glutes off, but at this point it's probably almost done. Yeah. Yep. He's too committed. He won't come out of that commitment. It would literally break the internet if he ever came out of the internet, came out with the actual fact that he's using steroids. This guy said he can't hear me. I'm sure he's back in the... Nope, you can hear me. Yeah, dude, don't do it. It's just, look, anything that's novel, new and novel, wait for somebody else to do it. That's what I always say. Like, my qualification criteria on using things like this is there human clinical research? Do we have like phase 2 clinical trials that have been well passed? Cool. Okay, check. Now, have other people used it before me in a long-term setting? 12, 16, 24 weeks? Okay, check. Cool. I'll try it out. If there's no phase 1 clinical trials, not using it. If there's phase 2 clinical trials and, you know, some slight amounts of people using it and they have mixed results, probably not. You can tell me all the mechanism in the world and I'm probably not going to be too interested in the compound. So usually that's kind of my qualification criteria. Like, if you can't get that shit solidified in research in humans where you see it's working in a reproducible manner, it's just not efficacious to be blasting yourself with this random compound because someone on the internet told you to. Like, it's cool, and people get algorithmic attention from it because it's like, oh, I'm uncovering this new thing. But it's also very bad because in some cases it can be very unqualified research and or mechanism that they're talking about, and that can cause many other people damage. Okay, so I'm going to do my first show at 54. Wow, I already take True TRT 150 a week, but now I'm doing a show in memory of a friend. What's the least risky? I'm thinking Anavar. The least risky is going to be bioidentical hormones, right? Now, synthetic testosterone is not bioidentical, but if you're truly trying to be safe, it's sticking to the very basics. Testosterone, growth hormone, you're good. Like, truly, you don't need to expand beyond that list. Now, if you were my client, I would definitely say, you know, keeping at slightly elevated TRT levels, 250, 300 milligrams of testosterone, and do a 1-to-1 ratio with the DHT or dihydrotestosterone derivative, something like Masteron or Primobolan, and then also on top of that growth hormone. That's all you need, dude. That is all you need to be showing up to a show in really good conditioning, as long as you're doing the diet and whatnot, but also looking full, round, and hard. And that's the things that we care about. So, like, you don't need to be doing, you know, and you don't need to be doing Anavar. You don't need to be doing Nandrolones. You shouldn't want to be doing 19 or testosterone derivatives at your current age either, right? Like, very clear neural degeneration that one can achieve from using these compounds is less than desirable at your age. Wow, that's fucking sick, dude. That's crazy. Get after it, bro. That's nuts. Do you notice some generic GH raises blood sugar more than others? No. I think that it's the variability of the quality of the growth hormone, in sense that, like, let's say one compound says, so like many of the suppliers are saying that theirs are 15 IUs or 18 IUs, and that might be true when they're first produced, but is that going to be the case when they arrive at your front door? Maybe not. I think it's just a quality control issue, so that one vial might be giving you the 10 IUs you're looking for, and another one might give you 12 or 13. And so you see some variability within fasting blood glucose. I don't typically see that happening, though. It's more of a per individual thing, where some people respond really poorly and some people respond net neutral. Like, you can insert 12 IUs and they don't even change their fasted blood glucose. So yeah, thanks, brother. I appreciate that. Yeah, the fucking RuneScape OG is the shit, man. Makes me cry. Makes me miss the good old days. The good old days. What do you do for work outside of YouTube, assuming that the tattoos stop you from getting corporate jobs? No. Well, I was in the military for a good deal of time and made a lot of money there doing private subcontracting in the military, basically, which is a lot to explain, but regardless, took that money, invested in housing. So I purchased houses, rented those houses out, sold some of them for several $100,000, multiple different houses, collect a retirement check every month. And that retirement check is bigger than a lot of your monthly incomes, to be honest. And then I started my business, and then that business has become very successful, and that is what I do. So the tattoos are because I don't need to work for anybody to get my money, basically. Well, also why I've lived all over the world. Thoughts on moderate? No. Nope. Don't use it. I think it's one of the worst compounds you can use. Maybe 5 milligrams here or there, but you can, it's just like, why? You can use modafinil. It's a much more refined compound that's much more cognitively focused, as opposed to a methamphetamine that's going to affect all of the physiology in the body, right? So it affects you by increasing heart rate, blood pressure, and anything that's highly dopaminergic, like a amphetamine, like dextroamphetamine, is going to cause neural degeneration, like, very clearly. That overexcitation of neurons is deleterious as fuck. So I would say use modafinil. You know, you're not going to have that effect. You're not going to get the raciness of something like Anadrol. And if you need to really cram for the software development, you're much better off to use something like that, because you could also use it in a long-term setting without having to worry about, addictions. Have you heard about Lock-In by Greg Reynolds? Just released a pre-workout and claims he found a way to pair caffeine with the other compound to almost nullify. I highly doubt it. Craig Reynolds. I'll check it out. I might even make a video about it, but I highly doubt it. Let's just look. Lock-In by Craig Reynolds. Craig Reynolds. I almost thought it was like the actor. All right, let's see what this guy has to say. He only gets 10 likes on his posts. That's crazy. I'm pretty sure Scientific Snitch has a much better pre-workout, by the way. So that's something you might want to look at. Honestly, I don't see this shit anywhere. I'm sorry, I don't see this anywhere. I'm looking, but I don't see this stuff anywhere. I would highly doubt it, right? If you want pre-workout, Scientific Snitch, she makes it. Yeah, don't do this. Terrible idea. Terrible fucking idea. Can you expand on the 19 Nora issues? Yeah. Basically, 19-nor derivatives of testosterone bind very potently to the amygdala and the frontal cortex and frontal lobe. And so what happens is we see architecturally, even in situations where there's pollutants from cattle, trenbolone, leaking into public water, and then that public water being consumed by males and females, we see that it changes the brain architecture. And what happens is the amygdala will grow in response, the hippocampus will start to shrink, and the frontal cortex will experience cortical thinning. This is really only prevalent within 19-nor derivatives. What we tend to see is that they can cross blood-brain barriers much more in effect than and bind to receptor sites, AR, in the brain, and initiate those kind of cascades, which is very, very, very deleterious, right? So, thank you, man. I appreciate that. God bless. It was a wonderful time serving the country. Absolutely. That's dope as fuck. I'm about to finish my bachelor's degree and get into borders. Oh yeah, dude, that's super fun. I did a little bit of that for some time too. That was also a really big blast. Except mine was down south, not up north, Canada. But that's sick. Yeah. It's just everybody just keeps reinventing the same wheel. Like, it's just crazy. Like, they just keep inventing it over and over and over again. Would it make sense to use P5P prophylactically with NPP? You could. There wouldn't be any harm in it. In fact, it might even reduce total acne accumulation if that's something you have an issue with, because vitamin B5, which is what P5P is very powerful at reducing pore-derived acne. So it wouldn't be harmful. I don't think it's that necessary. And to be very clear, I've never really seen anyone have a high prolactin, which is why you'd be using the P5P. I've never seen anyone have a high prolactin using NPP at responsible doses. I've only ever seen that in cases where people are mixing both NPP or nandrolone and trenbolone, and then therefore getting the additive effects of both, or they have a extremely high serum E2 or estradiol. Both of those things is what I've notably seen to consequentially cause there to be like radically elevated prolactin. But beyond that, you're right. Vitamin B6. It's not vitamin B5, it's vitamin B6. You're absolutely right. But yes, regardless, I would say that it's not going to harm you if you wanted to be careful. But I've generally never seen anyone get elevated prolactin from just a dose of NPP, unless their estrogen is, again, ridiculously high. I work in finance in New York City. I'll primarily take Stims when busy, but hours can be 12 hours a day. I prefer Addy/5-Ants over modafinil. Interestingly, I get way more cognitively locked in. Low-dose nicotine lozenges. I agree with the low-dose nicotine. I think the patches work well, especially if you work prolonged days, because you can wear one and kind of be done. I really don't like the excessiveness of Adderall's, like, or even Vyvanse. It's taking like a shotgun to the party. It's like, what are you trying to get done? All of it. And it's just like you just shoot the fucking shotgun. For me, I have like pretty clear clinical anxiety, so Adderall just isn't additive to my productivity. I think it's actually subtractive. It's extremely deleterious if I'm put into the wrong environment, or like there's like a lot of stimulatory stuff happening around me. I don't know. I haven't seen anything to support this. This is just kind of bro lore, wished and washed around over and over again. So possibly Adam likes to use it for this, Coach Adam. But I personally typically don't see any utility or experience any difference here from my own use as well as clients. Yeah, I've tried modafinil before. Cognitive focus is not comparable to Adderall. That's because Adderall is very dopaminergic. It's a stimulant, so it makes doing things fun. I don't like that personally, because we're getting into complicated stuff, but like when you activate those dopamine neurons and you're really just doing excitatory chemistry-based stuff, you are causing a lot of long-term architectural changes to the brain that I don't love the concept of. So I guess this is maybe my own like hypochondriacism coming to fruition, but I just don't think it's that good to be using when you can use other things that have much clearly less of a deleterious effect. Just flow, to be honest, as far as he stated it, it was AG1 pulling their sponsorships from him and him then just trying to cramp all he already took into one box and legit labels. Interesting. You can just take low dose Adderall. I take 2.5 milligrams at last 2 hours, redose as needed. I mean, if you want, again, for me, dude, I just don't. I mean, if you like it, you like it. But again, I think people are really attached to it, like weirdly so, in an almost emotional way. Because when I bring it up, people are like, "Yeah, it's the best thing." It's like, dude, it's meth, and like, it's not meth. It's derived from meth. It is methamphetamine. it's. I mean, if you want to be taking it, dude, sure. Like, but I just don't think that's the case. Neurodegeneration. When just look up like overexcitation of neurons. Just type in on Google overexcitation of neurons. When you overexert a neuron, it will cause damage, and that damage cannot be reversed. So any neural degeneration, which is a very global term, it's broadly used, and I should be more specific. But when you lose a neuron's function, it is gone. You're never gaining it back, no matter what you take or do. And so any neural degeneration should be avoided at all costs, using 19-nors, using Adderall, things like this. It will impair cognitive function, maybe not immediately, maybe not in 5 years, but 10 years, 20 years. And I don't know about you guys, but like the biggest fear that I have is getting dementia or Alzheimer's or any cognitive dissonance disease, any cognitively impaired disease is such a fear of mine. You lose your soul, you lose who you are. So anything that's going to potentially even cause risks to that, I'm just probably going to stay away from, just for me personally. Weed plus pre-workout, do or don't. You can. Some people find that they get a lot of benefit from using THC pre-workouts. And there is some data to support that there could be contractions from, better muscular contractions from cannabinoid receptor activation. I don't personally like it just because I need a certain kind of cognitive function while I'm in the gym. So for me, it's not the go-to, but for a lot of people, they love doing it. So I can't say it doesn't work. I can't say it's not effective. I just think that you want to be a little bit careful of how you administer it, just due to having to inhalate smoke. How did you start your online coaching business? After how long of training in person did you feel you were ready to pursue that? That's not true. So I never trained in person, really. I trained a few people. I just started helping people online because I won my national pro card in the PNBA on like natural bodybuilding. And a lot of people just wanted to know like what I was doing. So I just like started to share details, and that divulged into some people saying, "Hey, can I pay you?" That turned into me saying, "I'm making decent money." And so I'd spent a lot of time researching and talking to people and hiring mentors and learning as much as I could. A lot of time and money spent hiring mentors, honestly. And that then was just like kind of a side hustle. And then when I left the military and then got into real estate and then was like kind of wanted to be expansive past that, then I started to just really dive into the business aspect of it. And that's where we are now. So how did I start my online business? It was basically just a time gated thing. I started helping people for free. Those people liked the process. They got great results. Those testimonials drove more people to find my service compelling. Those people paid me. Then those people also really enjoyed the service, so they found it compelling and recommended, as well as were great testimonials, and so on and so forth. And then eventually you get to a point where you make enough money to where you can learn how to market, because you can pay for mentorships or courses to do marketing, to learn it. And then from there, it just scales and scales and scales. I didn't really do online coaching ever, besides just like on the side of my, or in-person coaching on the side of my online coaching, to be honest. So, don't drink piss. Yeah. Can you please tell me what could cause muscle cramps even during my first set? With flavor in it, with rehydration drink mix from a column. So potassium or sodium. I don't know what your potassium or sodium intake is, and magnesium and calcium. It's just a micronutrient problem. Like, it's just clearly a micronutrient problem. The thing is, you should be salting all your meals quite liberally. You should be making sure that you have a 4-to-1 ratio potassium sodium. So 4 times the amount of potassium that you do 1 times the amount of sodium. That should fix all your issues for most people. Then you're going to also want to have something like magnesium bisglycinate or glycinate in the nighttime, and then magnesium treonate in the morning. I like to do a little bit of calcium pre-workout, whether that's coming from food or a supplement is up to you. You should be fine in that sense. I blame my diabetes for the dopamine problem. Damn, son. Yeah, probably a little bit of both, to be honest, brother. Sorry for your situation. That sucks, man. That does not sound fun. Bless your heart. I see I have a lot of people wanting me to train them and give advice outside of people I train. Expand my outreach. Yeah, man, it's just what most people fail at in any bit. You can do anything, right? People always buy into coaching. It's like, dude, there's so many things to do where you can make way more money, like way more money. You could sell things to coaches and make 10x what I'm making in a month, literally. For example, be an ad buyer. Like, just look up ad buying and what that is, and then be an ad buyer for coaches. They'll pay you $1,500 a month, and all you have to do is run their ads on some different platform. And that takes maybe 15 minutes of work a week. It's pretty easy. You could do that times 5, times 6, times 20 if you really wanted to. Then you hire people to do it for you, and then you just reproduce. You could do video editing. My video editor is on the cheap side of things. He makes $2,000 to $3,000 a month full-time doing that. And he could take easily 2 more clients on top of me. So like, these are just 2 things. There's numerous that you could be doing where you'd make way more money. I would actually move into B2B versus B2C, business to business, as in a company model, or instead of business to B2C, which is business to customer. There's much more money to be made, honestly. Perpetually. Well, people that perpetually are perpetually perpetuating. First time heard on, yeah, definitely salt. That's 100% the issue, Brian, is just apply a little bit more salt to your food. I'm not saying don't, what people do when they say here liberally is they like pour it on there. Just salt to taste. Make sure that you are salting, but just salt to taste, right? It doesn't have to be crazy. Do you prefer LISS or HIIT cardio or something in between? It's a really good question. I prefer HIIT in most situations outside of a prep. So in a prep or a fat loss phase, I'll have someone move to LISS because the HIIT can be sort of too much to recover from. Doing that high intensity cardio can be quite harmful to recovery, especially when calories are limited. So LISS is less fatiguing, and that higher area under curve or larger area under curve of exposure to calorie expenditure could be better for something like that. Where HIIT, I'm more looking at the adaptations for the cardiac morphology. So like, how healthy is your myocardium? What is your heart rates? How is our insulin sensitivity? How is circulatory function? And that's kind of what I'm using HIIT for, as opposed to low intensity cardio is more derived towards causing fat loss. Yeah, specifically for the heart. That's exactly. So if I'm doing it for the heart, it would be HIIT all the way. Yeah, something like really intensive. Like, I love the assault bike. The battle ropes are great for HIIT. The stair climber is great for HIIT. Many things like that. Yeah, most compounds are, to be honest. Most compounds are. Any overexpression of androgens in the brain is generally not a good idea, but not as bad as what's seen in data from 19-OR testosterone derivatives. How does having cerebral palsy affect your training regimen? Massively. I was just talking about this on my Instagram story. I can't use my right, like the right hemisphere of my body the same way I can my left. You might see when I talk, like this side of my mouth doesn't move nearly as much as this side of my mouth, right? Like when I, like you see this often when I talk. The same thing is true for all of this side of my body, my hands, my back, my legs. So it's massively like just all you have to ask yourself is how would that affect you? It's massively. I usually have to do unilateral movements. I have to do, one leg or one arm or something like that to get efficacious training. Posture. I wouldn't know anything about that. I don't think there's any solidification there. Thai, like of course, in a fucking heartbeat. You have morals, okay? Win. Conservative, win. Concerned about staying home and taking care of things, win. Respectful, win. Traditional, win. Cooking, win. Just no. There's no. Yeah, it answers itself. Tight, loose, it's just. We all know. Look, if you. Yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Yeah, man. If you're ever curious on how to make more money, think about the job you do now if you work for somebody. And then think about like a pyramid of what that job would consist of. So like, here's the pyramid, right? We have like a little pyramid. You're here. This is your job. Let's say you work at the desk at an office supply store. This is your job. Okay, so in that business, their model is their model pretty well. They sell products to people who are looking for office supplies. Okay, so move up or down that pyramid. You're in the middle of it. Up the pyramid is you sell office supplies to office supply dealers, which is where you were working. That's how you can make money. Up the pyramid even further is you manufacture supplies for the mass sellers or bulk sellers of the products who are bulk selling to the office supply dealers. Up the pyramid is you have like the raw manufacturing ingredients to sell to the manufacturers who produce office supplies. You know what I mean? Then you can go down the pyramid. Who's training the people to work the front counter? What if you opened up a consultancy for employee training that's going to maximize customer satisfaction? You go down the ladder even further. What if you are working on manufacturing the best interior design for an office supply store to make sure you're maximizing profits by, focalizing people's view to a specific area of the store? Go down even further. What if you are in charge of marketing their ad campaigns on Instagram and Facebook? Go down the line even further. What if you're responsible for the content production for those marketing advertisements on Facebook meta platforms? Like, you can keep going and going and going and going. And then you can even move laterally, right? Office supplies, what's lateral to that? Home goods supplies. What's lateral to the other side of that? Art supplies, right? And like, you can think about drawing and painting and like canvases and very similarly connected things, printers and all that jazz. So that's how I would always look at, like, if you're struggling to make more money. Okay. Yeah. They're still better. Americans, the bottom of the barrel, man. There's nothing here for anybody who's my age. Like, realistically, if you are trying to make a successful life, it's just, it ain't here, dude. It ain't here. Yeah, I do. Here. I think I've done this 3 times now. Yeah, I think it applies to training. If 80% of your sets are hard, intense, and effective, you're going to grow fucking massive amounts of muscle. If 20% of them are for fun, you're just doing pump sets or whatever, I still think you're going to be absolutely successful. For sure. Absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely, dude. You know what sucks about these podcasts, guys, is like I can't, or these lives, is I can't. The ad revenue gets shut off every time because of this shit you guys say. Every single time. Like, it takes 3 minutes of this video being on YouTube, and they immediately hit me back with like something you guys said being inappropriate for advertisers. Thank you for that. Oh, poopy. Yeah, thanks, Ben. It's a difficult journey. I haven't perfected that craft yet, and honestly, it's hard to. It's very easy to just work and make money and to produce content, and to, like, these things are easy, but when you start dealing with like emotional things and building relationships and communities, and that's where shit gets actually really hard, right? And so it's sometimes easier to stay in the lane of this than, I don't know. Yeah, thanks. There goes another opportunity for the good old fucking YouTube income. You can't, dude. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking. I don't own 8 Bugattis. I don't know what I'm talking about. I obviously don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. I don't know what I'm talking about. Man, 17 beta, you're legit, bro. You're my friend. You are my friend. Yeah, that's a good idea, honestly. I've wondered about Twitch. I just haven't researched it enough to understand the mechanisms of monetary status there. And I feel like I couldn't really... If you're watching YouTube, it's likely that you're not watching Twitch. So getting my audience to move to Twitch would be very hard. It would mostly be novel viewers, which I feel like on Twitch it's a repetition game where you just kind of have to be on as much as humanly possible, and that's not really my thing with this. It's like more of a once a week deal. But all right, guys, I'm gonna bounce. It's been so long already. I appreciate you guys. I've been on here for an hour. I was intending it to be only half an hour today, but thank you so much for dealing with my latency and mic working function there. I appreciate you all for being here. If you do have any interest in coaching, by all means, use the links in the bio. I'm going to drop a new one down there actually to schedule a call with me directly, and we can get on a call. Basically, how it's going to work is I have room, but my coaching prices are very specific, where I have other coaches I work with directly. One of them is in this chat. His name is Seth, as well as Adam, Coach Adam, who would be more than willing to work with you, where I could talk about their services as well. So if you guys are should do one with your live from your Discord so members can talk to you there. Maybe I've done that. I did that quite a few times and then no one showed up, but I'll do it again for sure. I usually do pre-lives there for like 15 minutes. Oh yeah, bro. It's so crazy actually. So yeah, if you guys, that's so crazy. That's fucking wild. Congrats, bro. Yeah, if you guys are interested in coaching, use the links in the bio. I appreciate you being here. If you need any more information, always show up for the next Thursday video or just watch the videos I post every day. See you later.